And we're back. The Mike Thurnovich here, Danger in Play, Gorilla Mindset, owner of the Number Thick Mindset podcast on all of iTunes. No, I'm just kidding. This is the Glofcast episode 3. I am getting over being sick, so if I cough or something, please don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to get my shit figured out. So anyways, this is the Glofcast number 3. So this week I was considering giving commentary on a Kanye album, but yesterday in my day-long, lazy-ass, sick-ass haze, I was in bed all fucking day, I decided to basically comment instead on Beyonce's upcoming album, which is going to be a sequel to Lemonade, which will actually feature several features with Kanye West. So it'll be kind of almost a collaborative album in that regard, but it's going to be primarily Beyonce. Kanye just may have some features on there. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about Joe Rogan. So the reason I started this podcast, being the all-encompassing catch-all that this podcast is, was because I like Joe Rogan's podcast. So here I'm going to be playing a clip from the JRE number 823.25, where he talks to Sam Harris about a certain philosophical epistemological phenomenon. Observe the clip. My current project is purveying discourse to a subset of individuals regarding a particular interest of mine that relates neurochemical endocrinology to a phylosomatic sensation that pertains to one's physiology. So wait, hang on. So what would you write to these people? Like you have a big wiener? Not quite. At its most fundamental premise, what I was interested in was an evolutionary phenomenon known epistemologically as excretion from one biological system into another biological system, which is referred to in certain circles as Foucault's periodic defecation or pooping back and forth. Hold on, Jamie, do a quick search on this. So, what does that mean, pooping back and forth? So essentially, the primary premise of this act begins with defecation from my own biological system into the biological system of my receiving partner, who is usually a female. After my act of pooping into her butthole, he or she would return the favor via excretion of the same matter into my own rectum. After receiving what was essentially my original fecal matter into my anus, I would once again excrete it from my own body back into the body of my receiving partner. So that's it? I should mention that we continue this cycle with the original fecal matter for an indefinite period of time that can last up to several weeks or months. This act of pooping back and forth can continue occurring for an indefinite period of time, which can colloquially be referred to as forever. So, pooping back and forth forever. Precisely, yes. Dude, I don't know what it is, but this entire conversation is making me very hot. Jamie, go get a fan, please. So, as you can see, after Joe Rogan asked Jamie to go get a fan, he hits the blunt, and after this, Jordan Peterson himself actually calls into the show. So, we're going to see what Jordan Peterson has to say. Well, you see, this is something I've thought about for quite a long time, Joe. Well, about 4 decades, and well, I really can't wrap my head around it. You could say that the poop was, well, perhaps transputed across the set of all possible populations. We have no idea just how dangerous and malevolent the periodic defecation actually is, man. And so after that encounter with Jordan Peterson, Joe hangs up on him and proceeds to speak once again about his kettlebells shaped like a monkey that will fucking rip your dick off, and Sam Harris proceeds to speak in a calm and dulcet manner, incredulous to the fact that there are people out there that disagree. So I hope you found that clip enlightening because it was the inspiration for this podcast you are currently tuned into. So this week's main clip and kind of the title of the episode is about the recently announced new Beyonce album. So if you don't know who Beyonce is, fucking kill yourself, because she is a literal queen and the second coming of Christ, at least according to her fan base. So she does it all. She slays, S-L-E-I-G-H-S, slays. She dashes through the snow, she gets completely cucked by her husband, and then whines about it on an album dedicated to a sweet, light summertime drink. That's a joke. Cheating is bad, and it hurts people. That was a joke. I repeat, that's a joke. She goes to Coachella and dances for a bunch of privileged neoliberal early 20-somethings whose parents bought their Coachella tickets, but who also want to be a part of something to change the world, so to speak. Anyway, I digress, but her newest album is called Zyklon Bay. I think that's how you pronounce it, Bay, B-E-Y, Bay. It could be B, it could be Bay. There could be a debate in the Beyonce fan community that they're talking about that. I really don't know, nor do I care. Spelled B-E-Y, since that is Beyonce's nickname. It is a sequel to Lemonade and is a bit of a collaboration musically and ideologically with the artist and producer Kanye West, who has been in the news quite a lot recently regarding some of his more controversial opinions. And it is a journey into the mind of one of hip-hop's queens, spelled Kween, and that hip-hop queen, R&B queen, would be Beyonce. And she is a member of Destiny's Child, as you know, that 90s whatever supergroup, that hip-hop super 90s group. And she is actually, fun fact, the child of the Twitch video game streamer Stephen Bonnell II, who is also known as Destiny. So if you know who he is, look, he's done some pretty great stuff. So he may play a role on the album at some point as well. So without further ado, here is the album listing of the 10-track new Beyonce album, Zyklon Bay. So also, before I do this, bear in mind that the title of this album is a mental challenge to Beyonce's fans, the Bayhive, to stick with her, despite the terrible reference and parody that is the title of her album. By irreverently referencing and parodying the worst thing ever, so the gas Zyklon B used in the Holocaust, the concentration camps such as Auschwitz, Beyonce challenges her fan base to stick with her even when things have the possibility of getting very ugly. So think of the idea behind the line by rapper Kendrick Lamar on the song Mortal Man, "When shit hits the fan, is you still a fan?" So Beyonce takes this line ideologically and kind of stretches it a bit farther and goes a step farther with it by stretching it out into an album. So without further ado, these are the first 5 tracks of Beyonce's newest album. The second 5 will be done at a later date, maybe even next week. So I'm sorry, you guys, I've been a little bit sick, so I've been a little bit behind on this entire thing. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the first 5 tracks of this thing. Track 1 of this album is called Feast, featuring Kanye West. So this is I think this is kind of a remix to the Kanye song I Am a God off of his Yeezus album. So the beat is actually extremely similar. It's a remix. So the album starts off with Kanye saying, "I am a god," and then repeating the line, "Hurry up with my damn croissant," repeatedly for several minutes. So it's kind of like this. "I am a god. Hurry up with my damn croissant. Hurry up with my damn croissant. Hurry up with my damn croissant. Hurry up with my damn croissant." And he just keeps saying that over and over and over again. And it happens for several minutes. And eventually Beyonce kind of gets in there, and in the background will just go like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." And yeah, so she needs to get in there. It's her album and all that. So there's actually an accompanying music video to this song. So every time Kanye repeats, "Hurry up with my damn croissant," he and Beyonce get a little fatter in this music video. And like I said, Beyonce will add in the ooh, like periodically within the song. And then the video ends when the video and colloquially the song end when the two are bedridden due to their morbid obesity and morbid weight gain. And the two of them will actually get a TLC show about them. So that's pretty fun. They're both kind of, I think, especially Kanye is kind of used to the whole reality TV thing. So this won't be too much of a shock for either of them. They're not actually getting a TLC show, by the way. So it's just kind of it's just a music video. And so just for the purposes of this musical experiment, the two of them are getting their very own TLC show. It'll be kind of like My 600-Pound Life, but with people who are insanely famous. So be on the lookout for that. Track 2 is called Zyklon Bay, B-E-Y, Zyklon Bay. And yeah, it's the song that the album is named after. So the song starts off in a similar fashion to the music video for Beyonce's song All Night off of her Lemonade album. So if you've seen that music video, basically it starts off with Beyonce giving some sort of recipe for lemonade or some old style recipe. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. But anyway, it's similar to that, except this time Beyonce is talking about Zyklon B. So that was the gas used in the concentration camp in World War II, the worst thing ever, and so she talks about this thing, and it's like the chemical formula HCN, which is hydrogen cyanide, a poisonous gas, as well as the physiological effects on the human body which lead to death. So this includes the chemical's ability to interfere with adenosine triphosphate production for cellular respiration, and it kind of goes over the history of the production of Zyklon B, which actually it's German for cyclone B. So basically Kanye produces the beat on this one as well. He produces a very industrial death grip style beat in the background, which gradually gets more and more intense, signifying the brutal and painful death that those who die by Zyklon B experience. So this is, Zyklon Bay. So also, when shit hits the fan, is you still a fan? That is kind of that concept dragged to its extreme throughout this whole album. So far, we have basically Kanye and Beyonce getting extremely fat in the first song, which is never a good thing, and then we have them rapping about basically gas chamber gas in this song. So, and when shit hits the fan, are you still a fan? So, it's really testing the moral character of the listener, I will say that. So, Zyklon Bay, track 2. So, track 3 is called Yas Queen Slay, spelled Jas space Cuine space Sleigh. And so, this is basically a, kind of an ode to the beautiful Bayhive of Beyonce. So Beyonce is singing over a slow cloud trap, so R&B type beat that pervades a degree of pompousness that is to be expected, giving her rabid fan base. This is her nod to that fan base. So the accompanying music video is a low-budget, lo-fi music video where Beyonce is walking around the holy city of Jerusalem in Israel alone, eventually succumbing to Jerusalem syndrome. So this is a syndrome often found by individuals such as tourists in the city of Jerusalem in Israel, where they believe themselves to be the second coming of the Messiah. So most individuals who succumb to this kind of thing actually have to get some sort of psychiatric help within the state of Israel. And that's kind of the normal thing to do. The issue with Beyonce is, given her rabid fan base, some of which quite literally believe she is the second coming of Christ, they actually indulge that fantasy far more than they should. And when the proper response is to treat it. So think of this as this is Beyonce kind of saying, the theme of this album, when shit hits the fan, is you still a fan? This is Beyonce saying, hey, if I went to Jerusalem and I thought I was the second coming of Christ, unironically, would you indulge my fantasy, or would you help me get psychiatric help because you care about me as a person? So it really puts the fans in a type of moral conundrum that no other artist has really done before. So shout out to Queen Bey. I'm probably pissing off a lot of people if they're listening, all two of you. So Queen Bey, Yas Queen Slay, Queen Bey. So track 3. Track 4 is titled Every Girl is a Queen. So this is Beyonce giving a nod to femininity. So for some reason she decides to focus on the genitals. So with the song praising every girl simply by merit of having a snatch or a feminine penis, because we all know Queen Bey is not a transphobe, mind you. Some women can have penises according to the beautiful progressive left that we all know and love today. It is a true celebration of the feminine spirit, especially the feminine spirits of color. by a woman whose very existence demands reverence simply by merit of its own existence. If that doesn't really make sense to you, it doesn't to me either. So it's, you're not alone. Don't worry about it. Beyonce celebrates both the vaginas and feminine peni of the world through this song, especially as not to be transphobic. Beyonce is an absolute queen who offers cutting-edge commentary on pretty much every single topic simply by existing. And it has not been shoved down our throats 1,000 times before. It absolutely has not. Beyonce is not Time 1001. Who are you freaking kidding me? She is a queen, mind you. So this accompanying music video is just cartoons of penises and vaginas, slongs and snatches floating over a screen with not much else to say about that. So what more do you need to say? This song is simply a celebration of the feminine spirit that Beyonce knows she loves to encompass in her music. So thank you, Queen Bey. Slay. Continue slaying. You are probably the second coming of Christ. Let's be frickin' real, at least according to your Bayhive. So shout out to Queen Bey on this beautiful tribute to femininity. Slay, Queen. The final track I'm going to cover today, and kind of the midpoint of the album, is a song featuring Kanye on the album. No More Democratic Parties in LA, featuring Kanye. We know Kanye is not... He's not going for it anymore, you know? He's been in the news quite a bit lately. He is a very, very bad boy. He's associating with some really naughty people. This is the ideological successor to the second track, Zyklon Bay. And it also rehashes the beat from Kanye's song No More Parties in LA off of The Life of Pablo, except it's stripped down to be a little bit more minimalist, slower, and slightly spookier. The music video features Kanye and a Donald Trump doppelganger walking through the streets of LA, talking to each other. Maybe not even as friends, but maybe just simply as cooperators. Who knows? They're just simply talking. They're trying to figure out something. They have a problem and they're both trying to figure it out. They both want to come to the best possible conclusion for all parties involved. Maybe they're friends, maybe they're not. I really don't know. And Beyonce is walking behind them dressed as Harry Potter and carrying a sign that says Big Mean Orange Poopy Head. So she is, in case you were wondering, she is obviously referring to Donald Trump in this instance. This is very creative stuff we're talking about. This track offers a cutting-edge commentary on the current political climate of the United States from the very valuable, totally not dime a dozen perspective of the neoliberal woman of color. This music video ends with Beyonce as a vendor, but she doesn't appear to be selling anything. All she has is a sign that says, Perspectives for sale, $10,000 each. So, like I said, Beyonce she's offering, on this album as we can see so far, she's offering a very cutting-edge perspective, and one that we have never really heard before. And if you've heard this before, no you haven't. We need to hear it again and again and again. So this is basically what Beyonce is, this is Beyonce's album. So that is part one in a two-part series talking about Beyonce and Kanye's upcoming album. It's pretty much Beyonce's, but Kanye, his presence is enough on the album that you can almost call him kind of part two of the album. So it offers a cutting-edge commentary about the current political climate, and one that has not at all ever been done before. So sorry for the bit of the shorter podcast today. I'm a bit sick, and I'm still recovering a little bit. But I will gladly see all of you next week for episode 4, and a bit of a commentary. I think I'm kind of honing in on what I want this podcast to kind of be. So if you're still listening, if this still kind of interests you, just hear me out a little bit. It's kind of a podcast where you're not really sure if anything I am saying can be taken seriously. So including that statement right there. So it's call it a little bit of irony poisoning, folks. And so post-irony, I really don't know. That's kind of, I'm thinking about calling it maybe premise fiction and just kind of going with that. So you don't really know if I'm serious or not. It's kind of almost a game with the listener. So that's kind of my thoughts on the entire thing. Maybe I really shouldn't have disclosed that on this podcast. Maybe I should have kind of let the listener kind of go with it a little bit more and kind of figure out, oh, okay, is he joking? Is he not joking? But here, I'm just going to spell it the fuck out for you. That's the intentions with this podcast. It's a little bit of ironic premise fiction where... Yeah, so, where you can't really tell if I'm serious or not. So that's kind of my intentions with that. I spelled it out for you. I'm kind of spelling it out for myself as kind of a guideline with regards to that as well. Anyway, that's all I really have to say, and looking forward to episode 4. Take care.